Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Real Estate Uncensored. I am in full control of the podcast. Matt has regrettably control. So you know what that means. We're going to have one epic fucking episode today. And it's not only going to be epic because I'm in full control and the Johnson is out doing whatever he's doing. Now, I wish he was here though. But we have Bob Stewart, guys. I have known Bob for a long time. I did some work with him, what was it, like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago on your stuff?
Longer, I don't know, maybe 2013.
Oh my God. Not that long. But guys, this is Bob Stewart. He's with ActiveRain, but there's so many new things. If you guys don't know what ActiveRain is, you got a serious problem just to start right there. But you know what, Bob, welcome to the show, man. Come on in, tell us who the hell you are, man.
So who the hell am I? So I'm Bob Stewart. I guess my business card says community evangelist at ActiveRain. And I've been doing that for about 10 years. We launched this thing back in 2006. And it actually launched as a fail. We originally launched ActiveRain as a lead management platform for our real estate company. We had a real estate company at that time. We dominated the search engines in Western Washington, and we built a CRM on the back end of our website, and that was ActiveRain. And the second step of that became we actually built a transaction management piece, and we thought we're going to give this away to the world. Everybody's going to use it. It's going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread. And what ended up happening is we couldn't even get our own agents to use it. We spent a lot of time. Yeah, we spent a lot of time and money kind of developing this thing. We were managing leads at that time for like Remax of Canada and Windermere, which is kind of a local brokerage in Washington. Yeah. And it just, we weren't getting any uptake on it. And this is right around the same time as Facebook was kind of getting more popular, at least coming out of just being for college kids. And so we thought, God, what if we were to just build something where agents could come online and talk to each other? And, you know, we had our own brokerage at that time, Brad. And one of the things that we noticed in your brokerage, right? But one of the things we noticed is agents were a little bit hesitant to kind of share what was really working for them with the person in the cubicle next to them, right? Because if that person starts doing the same thing, all of a sudden they're taking my business. So,
only small-minded people think that way, Bob. You and I both know that. Those bastards.
But what we did is we thought, well, what if we just put this online? We let agents come to a place, talk about what they're doing in their business, what's working for them, what kind of struggles they're having. Maybe they'll be more willing to share it kind of onto the internet than they would with the guy in the cubicle next to them. So that's kind of where ActiveRain, that's where it came from, right? That was the idea for it. And 10 years later, I mean, it's still in many ways the same thing, right? We've got agents in there who are sharing stories. There's peer-to-peer learning that's happening. People talking about the things, the challenges they're having in their business, other people coming in and answer them. And it's all done in two formats. One is a blog, and the other one is kind of this question and answer forum that we have. There's also a second side of the blogging. Over the years, we've trained thousands of agents on how to write blogs with the aim of getting those things into the search engines, getting an index by Google, and hopefully having consumers actually find the content that they're writing and then reach out to them and want to do business. So that's kind of what ActiveRain is over its history, what it is today. We've got a bunch of complete remodel. I'll be honest, if you go to the site today, there's tons of great information there. It kind of has that feel of like 2009 maybe. So we've got a pretty big kind of remodel coming, really heavy on images and just making things look a lot better. Another piece of that will be kind of these templates that people can more easily create blog content. Blogging's not easy. You know, we like I said, we've trained thousands of agents. It becomes this kind of, you know, you do it and then you got to do it again the next day and then 3 days later and then you just got to keep doing it, right? And if you don't, you're not going to get anything out of it. I mean, that's like pretty much marketing of any form or fashion in this industry. You got to just continue to do it.
Yeah, you got to do it right. Consistent.
Yeah, you got to do it consistently. Now you got to do it right. And that's one of the big kind of aspects of ActiveRain. We do some training. We've got things called our blogging blueprints where we teach people how to write. Like, let's say you're going to write about a listing. Most people would write about their listing by saying, you know, here's the address. They give you all the pictures, the price. They give you everything you ever needed to know. And many years ago, the lady named Katrina Benton, who does awesome Craigslist marketing. And one of the things that she taught me about Craigslist marketing that I think also applies to your blog is Craigslist, people are looking for a reason to disqualify your property, right? So you've put your property up there, you've given them every piece of information there is to have about it, and really you've given them a chance to just disqualify that property. So they go in there and they say, oh, this one's only got 3 bedrooms. We needed 4, right? What they don't know is that it had a den off the side that could function as a bedroom. It just doesn't have a closet or whatever that thing is, right? But they're disqualifying. They're saying, oh, this property's listed at $599. Our limit's $575. So they're disqualifying. And you can do the same thing in your blog when you're blogging about your listing, right? If you show them all the pictures and you show them everything they never need, you may disqualify them without actually getting them to reach out to you.
That's interesting.
That should be the goal of your blog. It should be the goal of your Craigslist marketing. It should be the goal of a lot of your marketing is to get them to reach out to you. Like I'll give you another example in the real world. Like Ben Kinney on his just listed postcards, right? They do a lot of these campaigns, and then they're going to do a just listed campaign. Instead of putting the price and the bedrooms and baths.
This is Pierce right here.
Pierce, what's up, buddy?
Guys, world meet. This is Bob Stewart. Bob Stewart, meet Pierce. Pierce is one of our current agents here in the area.
Pierce, nice to meet you.
But am I parked behind you?
Yeah.
Son of a, yeah. Could you? I will love you for that.
Figure it out.
Pierce is the best.
That's awesome.
Guys, how awesome is that? I owe him a beer on Friday. But anyways, let's get back to you. Sorry about that, bud.
That's okay. So, so Ben sends out these just listed postcards. Almost everybody in the industry is going to put the price on there, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't do it. He realized that's going to disqualify people, and he wants to get them into his database. And so what he does is he uses Quickly, which is a tool that we own, right? There's other tools out there like this, but he basically allows somebody to text in to get the property address. So the postcard says, to get today's price and all of the pictures, because you can only put one picture, it's generally the front of the house, right? Something like that. So to get the price and all the pictures, text Ben Kinney to 59559. So the consumer, I mean, and they used to get very little response on those just listeds. They essentially use them as a way to just kind of let the neighbors know, right? When they do the listing appointment, they say, hey, we're going to send a postcard out to 400 people around your house. But now they've figured out a way to withhold some of the information and to make people reach out and get it, right? And they use Quickly, which is a text-to-lead service that allows them to kind of, so somebody texts Ben Kinney, get a prompt back, they tell them the address, and then they get the property information.
Dive into that a little bit deeper. I really like that. I mean, what has been the genesis of this thing? How did it start, first off? And what kind of numbers are you looking at now in regards to like leads coming in on daily basis, weekly basis? Help me understand it a little bit more.
Okay. So Quickly is a text-to-lead service, essentially. It was founded in 2009 by a guy named Tony Romeo, and he sold Quickly in 2010 to Market Leader. Market Leader, brother worked there. I used to work. They owned ActiveRain at one point. Yeah. And when that happened, Market Leader essentially stopped selling it. They had 110 clients on the service at that point, including some really big ones like Fox and Roach, which is now a Berkshire Hathaway company out of the Northeast. Baird and Warner, they've got about 80 in the Chicago area. Anyway, they sold it to Market Leader, and Market Leader stopped selling it. So from 2010 until July of 2015, anybody else. There were 110 clients when Market Leader bought it. There were 105 of those clients still using it in 2015 when Ben Kinney bought it as a part of the ActiveRain purchase from Zillow. Here's what it does. Essentially, you get a keyword as an agent. Okay, we tap into the IDX feed from your MLS, can send in a keyword. So let's Ben's example. His keyword is Ben Kinney. So they can see this piece of messaging somewhere, right? And the most obvious place to use it is on your listing sign, right? Either as a sign writer, or they'll like stake a secondary sign kind of adjacent to their main listing sign. And on that sign, it says, for price, pics, and info, text Ben Kinney to 59559. So the consumer does that, right? Right away when they do that, whether they take any action in the future or not, Ben's now in possession of what's arguably today, I believe, the most important piece of contact information you can have for somebody, their cell phone number. There's no Mickey Mouse at Disney.com. There's no Bill Gates at Microsoft. There's none of that, right? I've got their cell phone number. Now, they can then do a couple of things. They can either tell us the address. So they get a prompt that says, hey, tell us the address of this listing or any listing you see for sale, or click here for the nearest listing. So they can respond with an address. If they do that, they then get a text back that has price, bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage. We send them the first 5 images from the MLS. and we send them an additional link to go and look at all of the images. Although some agents change that second link to maybe go to look at a YouTube video or to go to a Matterport video or anyway, or they can click on the link that we send out that will basically tap into their GPS. It'll say, are you okay if we find your location? They say yes. And then it'll pull up the 5 nearest listings to them, always serving up, in this case, a Ben Kinney listing as one of the top 5. So that's the most general, right, on their signs. But a lot of folks have taken this thing to the next step, which is essentially you can put text message marketing on anything, right? I could run it on my blog. I could say, hey, for more pictures about this house, text Ben Kinney to 59559. On my postcards, Ben now does it on some of his radio ads. So he runs radio ads down in Seattle. And they used to have you call a phone number or maybe go to like listwithbenkinney.com to a website. Now he says, there's a lot of ways. It doesn't always have to send back property info. Like for a list of all the open houses in Bellingham this weekend, text BK open to 59559. And then he's controlling the messaging that goes that thing.
That's really interesting, and a lot with the like Facebook Lives and other things that are periscopes and different opportunities. You can create the inbound leads for you. Then you can push it back out with value to them. You can start the dialogue back and forth.
That's what you need, is something of value, right? Like Trump or Clinton, doesn't matter what your flavor is, right? Or maybe neither of them's your flavor. Look at their lectern. Ernie had this, but look at their lecterns when they get up in front of a crowd and they're going to speak. Donald Trump's lectern says text Trump to 58385 or whatever his code is, right? Clinton's got the same thing. Bernie had the same thing. As an agent, though, you have to figure out what's that thing of value that I get back to. Like you could do it with your show, right? You could, guys, I just mentioned that the 10 awesome scripts. If you want to get those, text scripts to 59559, right? And then you just have the response to be a link to the 10 scripts where they can go download it on your website or whatever it is. Yeah. See, a lot of these things, a lot of like the marketing that we put in play, it requires them to go and do something, right? So go to my website. Yeah. Well, let's say they go there and then they don't do anything there. Yeah. We lost that opportunity. But if we initiate it with, hey, to get this thing, text, it doesn't matter what they do after they text. I've got their cell phone number now. Yeah,
you can now call them, follow up with them, send them another text. You can
they never downloaded your scripts. If they never downloaded your scripts, you're going to have their cell phone number. You can call them and say, hey, how come you never downloaded our script?
Hey, right? What, you don't like me anymore? What the hell?
Right. Or whatever it is. I got another. So we have a quickly user. Just they are running. They are in bed with a builder, right? And this builder, they're up in Anchorage. And one of the things this builder does is they build tiny houses. These micro houses or tiny houses, or whatever. You've seen these, right? Yeah. So the builder came to them and said, hey, we want to give away a tiny house. And we want you to market this giveaway. Do it as a way to make people aware that we sell tiny houses, right? And so the builder said, you guys market this thing, do what you want, spread it out there as wide as you can. So here's how they're going to market it. This week, it's happening right now. It started on Thursday of last week. They're have a booth at the Alaska State Fair, right? And now what would you normally as a real estate agent give away at a booth? I don't know, but these guys are giving away the chance to win a tiny house.
That's a hell of an opportunity.
And in order for people to enter, what they have to do is they have to text. I think theirs is Alaska. Text Alaska to 59559. When you do that, you then get back the form, right? I click a link and I go to the form and I fill out all my information. But for the real estate team, they're just adding to their database, right? They're just adding people to their database. They have cell phone numbers now for all these people. Hopefully these people are going to subsequently fill out the form to win the tiny house. But even if they don't, doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter at all. But that's a hell of a giveaway. I mean, for the average agent, I mean, what about doing like a restaurant coupon? What about changing it up every 12 months? So it's always something new. You can change it in all your marketing. You can do digital codes or something like that.
Maybe it's get a first-time home buyer guide. Get 10 steps to get your house ready to sell. I mean, agents, especially the agents that are blogging, right? People that are creating content on a consistent basis for their business, they're probably going to be able to go into their archives and say, oh, here, I could give this. So, I mean, there's text message marketing has a long way to go, I think, in the real estate space. And some people are really getting on there pretty fast. The funny thing, so you asked me earlier, how many leads do you get out of something like this? Here's what we found on average. On average, across, and we've got thousands of agents using this across the country now. And we've had this thing since July of 2015. But what we find is on average, they are going to generate only one inquiry per sign per month.
Really? That low?
That
but
low.
Again,
here's why. But I've got people that generate 3, 4, 5 inquiries per listing per month. There are a couple differences. One is if you make it a rider, it gets lost, right? It gets lost in the sign. And so drive by, they kind of see the sign. They don't necessarily see anything else. So about a year ago, one of our guys said, you know what? I'm going to stop doing a rider. I'm going to take this thing and stake it in the ground next to my listing sign. So you've got the big listing sign, which has his phone number on it, which is what he wants them to do. He wants them to call. But a lot of people don't want to call, right? They would rather text. And I mean, today we use our phone for texting more than we use it to make phone calls.
It's so true.
So he was reading a marketing study, and the study said if there's two pieces of marketing side by side, the consumer's eyeballs are going to start on the larger piece, which is his phone number, which is what he wants them to do, call, right? But their eyeballs are going to finish on the smaller piece. And if you think about somebody driving by your listing, in the large sign with your phone number on it, you know, maybe you got a rider that's got just listed on it or price reduced or whatever, right? There's a lot going on in that sign potentially. They finish on that smaller piece, and his smaller piece is just the staked in sign that says for instant info and pictures, or for instant price and pics, text value to 59559. So he knows that the eyeballs are always finishing there, and they're driving by, right? So it's a really quick interaction. It's sign, second thing that, ooh, I can text. I mean, a lot of times people will even get the wrong words, like they'll text price instead of value, or, but the idea is that's the second thing they see. And so when he started doing that, he gets on average just over 2. He gets like 2.2 inquiries per sign that they have out per listing per month.
That's fantastic. I mean, that obviously has done wonders for his business, because if he seriously sucks,
right. So this particular guy's out of Austin. He's got a team, right? They at any given time are carrying between 50 and 60 listings.
Wow.
So they're getting 100 to 120 of these inbound inquiries per month. That's just from their signs, right? That doesn't include the stuff they're doing on their radio ads maybe, or on their print marketing, or in any of the blog stuff they're writing or sharing stuff on Facebook. None of that, right? That's just their signs. And think about this. I mean, everybody I think would say the best lead you can get in real estate is a referral, maybe would be number one, right? Somebody who's definitely going to work with you, maybe a past client, a referral, something like that. Next, I would argue would sign call, right? If you know what you're doing, I think we'll get into this to get it to the right people and saying it enough times. But if you know what you're doing, a sign call's, that's gold. I think a lot of agents would agree.
1,000%. I'll take a referral and a sign call all day long, every day. I mean, especially the sign call. That means there's a deliberate action. They actually want a specific product or property. So now I know exactly what I'm doing.
And they're standing in front of it, right? A lot of times they're standing right in front of it.
Right there.
Text leads, right? These people are standing in front of the listing. So so here's how they respond. Every single time Ben's team does this, the Heil team does this. This is their response. Did you get all the information you wanted about that property? Right? It's a yes or no, right? It demands an answer.
Right.
If the person doesn't respond in 7 minutes, they send a follow-up. All the follow-up says is, okay, just check. Right? Which is just kind of a reminder to that person that a real person's over here. They just texted you a question about the property that you maybe 7 minutes later aren't standing in front of, but you were. They all, Greg, either yes, I got all the info, or no, and then usually followed by something, right? Oh, it said it's 4 bedrooms, but, how big are the bedrooms? Whatever their question is, right? Here's where a lot of agents would stop. If the person says, yes, got everything we need, thanks, a lot of agents would just go, no, guess they don't need my help.
Typical agent.
And Ben's response every single time is, awesome. What time do you want to see the inside? Right? They're angling for an appointment. You've got somebody standing out in front of the house that said, yes, I got all the info I needed. Let's see if they actually want to see that thing.
That's awesome. And then what are the average amounts of times? I mean, do you have this any kind of numbers? Like, how many times do they're like, oh yeah, like 5:30 or 6, or no, thanks, I got an agent. You're like,
so on Ben's team, about 1 in 10 people that they get to have that conversation and they get to the point of asking are saying, yeah, we would like to see the inside. And then they've got on the buyer. They're not just going to run out and show a property. Right? Or consult, you know, and there's some safety issues too, I think, around out to a house that somebody you don't know at all. Like my mom the other day, she's like, yeah, this guy want to see the house. And I'm like, oh, really? Like, just someone to see a house and you're not going to go show it to him like right now without knowing who this person is, right? But yeah, they do pretty well, right? Like, I buy are gonna turn into an appointment, and that's with no follow-up, right? That's not then continuing to have a discussion via text with this person. I mean, I'm talking like they're in front of the house. We say, do you want to see, or did you get all the information you need? They say yes, and we say awesome. Like, would you like to see the inside of that thing? There's a whole other set of follow-up for people that fall off the face of the map, right? Because that happens, right? They just don't respond, but you got their cell phone number, so
you can stay up with them forever. Actually, the funny thing is that I got it from a lady, Mary Ellen, and her husband Paul. I've been following up with these people for a year and a half, and they called me on Saturday and they're like, hey, thanks for being so nice to us and staying up with us and everything else. We'll come out and list our home this week. We're okay. I totally thought they fell off the planet, but I just kept on dripping out onto them, and they reached back to me, and now I'm taking down the listing. It's so important when it comes to the follow-up. We'll talk about follow-up here in a little bit, but I mean,
can I throw one in on that?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So we're going to talk about my mom. I can tell the story of her, but she called me the other day. She's like, hey, I had this guy called me back. She's like, I've been just mad dogging this guy, just chasing him. She's like, it was the 7th time I'd called him. And so he answered the phone, and this is in like 3 or 4 days, right? Wow. And so the guy answers the phone finally, and he's like, hello. And obviously he knew this number had called him up, right? And so the first thing she said, and granted, my mom's really upfront, right? Nothing scares her. She's gonna speak her mind. The first thing she says is, have you been avoiding me? Like, it's kind of a joking tone, but seriously asked the guy the question, and he was like, no, who is this? And she's like, oh, I'm just kidding. This is Gail Smith with the Ben Kinney team, and you had inquired about a property on our website a couple away. Like, he kind of laughed, and he said, oh, no, I haven't been avoiding you. He's like, I have seen you. I really appreciate the follow-up. And I think a lot of people think, I don't want to follow up like that because maybe I wouldn't like it done to me like that. But the reality is that even, who cares? What if they say, screw you, you stupid asshole, quit calling me? Fine,
yeah, who cares?
Calling them, right? And like my mom's, no sweat off my nose, I'll call the next person. And eventually I'm going to get somebody that says, thanks for calling me back and following up. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Actually, there's a great book that you totally appreciate. It's called Go for No. It's a short little book. Have you read that book yet?
No.
Have you ever read it? No, dude, go buy it. I got it was an 1.5 hour read. Yeah, Go for No, and it completely changed my mindset on how I looked at prospecting and follow-up, because instead of going out and looking for leads on a daily basis, like, oh, I'm going to get 1 lead today or 2 leads today, my whole goal is I need to be rejected 25 times or 50 times a day. I have to be told no that many times, because you don't know how many and nuggets of wisdom, not nuggets of wisdom, how many nuggets of gold are going to be left in there, aka leads, buyers, and sellers. Because if you go for a certain lead count, then you could be stopping yourself from a substantial amount of income and people that you can work with, because all you have to do is get told no enough times. Then it also desensitizes you to it. Like your mom, she's just, taking life by the balls and just going for it. But a lot of agents are scared shitless of their own shadow, and once they start, like, you might be able to hear that word no, they freak out. But if you actually look for it and high five yourself or a coworker when you get told to go fuck yourself, you're like, sweet, I just got told to go fuck myself. And you're like, high five, boom, and you move forward. It completely changes your mindset, right?
And what happens over time is you start to know, your business becomes a formula. And this is one of the things in Ben Kinney's business that they've really focused on, is the formula of knowing. You made a great point. You said, what happens if you want 5 leads today? You want to set 5 of them. You want to get 5 good calls, and in your first 10, you get 5.
Right.
And you stop, right? But if you said, look, I want to get 50 no's, right? It might take me a while to get to 50 no's, but I'm still going to pick up all those good ones along the way.
Yeah, exactly. And you actually thank people. I've thanked people. Like if I called Bob and I think, Bob, you're like, go fuck yourself, you idiot. I'm like, you know what, Bob? You have just said the greatest thing to me. Thank you so much. I'll get right on that. And then it takes people like, wait. No, I just told him no. Wait, what? what? But it changes your mindset, and you want to go do it, and you want to do the follow-ups and everything else. And that's it. When people actually start doing that and they start making it a game, they're gamifying it. Your day all of a sudden becomes a lot more fun. You actually are desperately crying out for people to reject you. It's a weirdest mindset, but it so works.
So I'm so big on teams. Like I just think especially new agents getting into the business, like the best way to get into the business and really learn is to be on a team. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons for that is the idea of gamification, right? On Ben's team, or they've got expansion teams now, like they've got one down in Austin. These guys first off, they're committed to each other, right? And so they have people to hold them accountable. But they also then, like, it's a game. Who can set the first appointment of the day, right? That's part of the game. I think they even do bonuses with this stuff. But everybody gets in a room and they're all driving towards who's going to get the first appointment, right? I'm sure they have stuff like who's going to get the first person to tell them to fuck off, right? Like,
yes.
Who's going to be the first person to get to 100 calls? Like that idea of like playing against other people. A lot of people that get into this business, you're competitive by nature, right? You want to be better. You want to win. A lot of times I don't think agents know what to do.
They don't. They have no clue on what to do. Right. And actually, you brought up a good point. Pipeline Wizard is a free system that you can go use. They have them for brokerages and individual agents. But you can, like, if you're an agent and I'm an agent and you're up in your Pacific Northwest, I'm down in California. I'm like, okay, I'm going to kick Bob's ass this week. And so then on the Pipeline Wizard, we can, say, okay, I'm going to get this many leads, or I'm going to do this many prospecting. We can see where each other are, so you can compete with each other. So you can then completely gamify and go against anybody else in the United States that you want to go against. And it totally helps me step up my game. Prospecting calls on live Facebook video, which I have a mount right here for that. And so for me, it becomes a game, because if I got to step my game up and I got to get told no, I want those bad calls. I want those bad conversations. I want the dickheads, because then they even out and you find these wonderfully sweet people. But it's totally changed my mindset. For me, it's wonderful. Are you guys using Pipeline Wizard?
No.
Oh, dude.
The team uses Mojo Dialer inside of Boomtown, I think, is what they are kind of how they're gauging each other and keeping track. And
so let's talk about Mojo. I'm a huge advocate of it. Your mom's using it now. Let's tell a story about your mom, guys.
Okay.
Bob, and just share a little bit about her and her success and the timeline. It was amazing.
Okay, so my mom's been retired for 10 years. She's getting bored. She used to, my stepdad's a commercial fisherman, and she like kept the books for a fleet of 7 or 8 fishing vessels, and she was getting bored. My stepdad's getting ready to retire, and so she's like, I need something else to do. What should I do? And I'm like, why don't you get your real estate license, Mom? And she said, oh, I don't know. And I said, yeah, get your license. Like, I'll tell you what, if you get your license, I'll set you up with Ben Kinney and Ben's team. And, I've worked with and for Ben for a long time. So she's heard Ben's name, and he's literally the #1 agent in the state of Washington, right? They did 700 plus transactions last year in Washington. And so I said, I'm going to set you up and we'll put you on Ben's team. So she said, okay. So she went out and got her license. And so she's licensed, right? And I connected her with Ben. So, I mean, this is literally day 1 that she has her license. She's up in Bellingham doing training with Ben's team. And one of the things that they do every day, they do it from 8 to 8:30. And if you're a member of the team, you have to be at the office at 8 o'clock, unless you have a damn good reason why not to be, right? You're showing a client a house or you're taking a listing appointment. But from 8 to 8:30, they do scripts and dialogues. And so when she got started that first day, she sat down with Ben and Jolene runs the team. And she said, what should I do, right? How am I gonna get business? And they said, listen, we've got leads for you, and those are gonna come in, but the best way that we know how is just to start letting people know that you're in the business. And she said, okay, great. I'm down in Lacey. Like, Ben's team isn't down there yet, so she couldn't call around on and do circle prospecting on just solds. And so they said, here's what we're gonna do. They pulled 1,500 names, and then they did this. Now I think it's through Mojo Dialer. Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, you can pull lists out of Mojo, right?
Oh yeah, you can map out lists. Absolutely.
Okay, so they map a list out of Mojo. It's basically a center point around her house down in Lacey, and they say, we're going to do this, and you're going to work this script with it. So for 3 days in their office, each morning from 8 to 8:30, she practiced that script, and I'll give you the script in a second. And then the rest of the day, she spent listening to some other people make calls, learning Boomtown and how to use Mojo, like when she goes home. And So this is a Monday. So Thursday comes around. She goes back home, and she's 3 hours from Bellingham. So she drives back home Wednesday night. And so Thursday morning, she's going to get up and start making her mojo calls. And she has a goal that day to call 150 people. She's got a list of 1,500 names, and she wants to get through it in basically 2 weeks, right? 2 working day weeks. Day one, she made her 150 calls, and here's her script. Something like, hi, this is Gail Smith with the Ben Kinney team, and I'm just calling around to some of my neighbors in the area. I live here in Lacey, and letting you guys know that we have a real shortage of inventory on homes for sale in Lacey. And so since interest rates are really good and prices are pretty good still here in the Lacey area, I'm just wondering if you guys are thinking about buying or selling anytime in the near future, or if you know anybody who is. Shut her mouth, right? I mean, yeah. And just wait for a response. So she made those first 150 calls. She got 2 listing appointments and 2 buyers that first day. Wow. I mean, she didn't get so one of them was this, right? It's a lady who actually lives on the same lake that she lives on across the lake. And she could tell from the addresses, I think, that were coming in with these things. Like, she kind of get an idea. So she knew this lady was on the lake. And the lady said, oh, wow, thanks for your call, Gail. No, we're not thinking about selling. But you know what? There's a guy that lives behind us that 3 years ago tried to sell his house. And he's had renters in there ever since. I think he might be somebody that's interested in this. Why don't you let me get you his phone number? And she got the phone number. This is a $600,000 listing. She's maybe 6 weeks in, 4 to 6 weeks in now. And she took that listing like yesterday. I mean, almost every day my mom is texting me something like yesterday, Saturday, she made 2 offers on houses. Sunday, one of them got accepted. I haven't heard on the other one yet. I mean, she's 6 weeks in basically on that script. She's picked up 6 listings from those 1,500 calls. She picked up 6 listings and like 4 buyers. 2 of them are cash buyers, one from California, one from Vancouver, who are coming into her area. And these are people that are like coming in basically and are and some of these are boomtown leads too, by the way. Like, those were boomtown leads. But the point is, she didn't know any better, right? She didn't have any fear of, well, I take that back. She had fear. But
well, there was something wrong with her, but
right. I mean, she had fear, but she didn't know what else to do, right? She said, Ben, what do I do? And he said, well, this is what I did, right? When I started 10 years ago, this is what I did. I sat down, I just called people. I knew what I was going to say. So they've got this adage in Ben's business, right? It goes like this. You need to say the right thing. And that's why scripts are important, right? They allow us to say the right thing. And in her case, she was saying the right thing, right? Here's why, right? Home prices are still really strong. Interest rates are low, and inventory is low in this area. That's the why of it. Yeah. And then the what is, are you or anybody you know thinking about buying or selling, right? So she's saying the right thing. Then you need to say it to the right people. And in her case, it didn't matter, right? The right people was just somebody willing to pick up the phone that lived in a house around her.
Right. Any human being was the right person.
Essentially, right? I mean, in theory, these are homeowners who are answering their phones at home, or maybe their cell phones now. I believe Mojo has cell phones in there. I don't know.
They pull anything that's associated with the property. So if your cell's associated with the property, then yeah, you would call the cell. Right.
If your cell's associated with the property somewhere on the internet, I mean, they're scraping this stuff and getting pretty good information.
Pretty good, yeah.
And then you need to say it enough times, right? And so she's saying it to the right people. She's saying enough times. She's saying the right thing. And this is a formula that works. She didn't make this up. Ben Kinney didn't make this up. I see you do this every day, Greg. I watch your stuff on your Facebook group. You do it every day, right? And yeah. It's because you're willing to put the time in to do it. Mm-hmm. I don't know if there's any better way to generate business outside of your sphere.
No, I mean, when it comes to just outbound prospecting, my father, when he got into the business 44 years ago, his theory was, since we didn't have, the internet, they didn't have cell phones, none of that shit was around. So he had to go door knocking. He didn't know any better. I mean, he was flat ass broke. I mean, he needed to get business. So he went out there with the mindset of, what the hell was that? Siri decided to jump in. Dumb bitch. Don't interrupt me when I'm talking, woman. He went out there with the mindset of like, look, I have the cure for polio. People love me. They just don't know me yet. Yeah. So he went out there with the mindset that he was going to make friends and he was bringing something of value to people and that he wanted to get in front of them. And I go out there with the idea of, hey, look, I want to make it easier. I want agents, when they watch me on my Facebook Lives, I want them to see that it's not hard. It's not scary. It's not anything. All this bullshit you've heard from other people. I want to completely debunk that. And I want them to go live the lives of their dreams, doing the thing that if you spend 1 hour, that's 4% of your day doing cold calls. I mean, then do some follow-up calls, do warm calls. I mean, it just get your ass on the phone and start being, persistent and consistent with it. And your mom's going to be incredibly successful in this business based purely on that.
So her goal initially was to do 20 deals. She asked Ben, she said, realistically, what's a good goal for my first year? And he said, 20 deals is a good goal. He's like, that's about 2 a month. There'll be some months where you'll only get 1. And she said, okay, I'm going to make my goal 24 deals. And I mean, after, I think a week later, her goal is now 36 deals. She wants to do 36 deals in her first year. And I don't have any question she's going to do it. I think she's going to blow it out of the water. She's got 2 pendings already. She's got 6 listings. I mean, I think 95% of agents would be happy right now to have 2 pendings and 6 listings.
Ecstatic. They'd be so excited right now. They'd be shitting themselves.
Here's why don't agents join a team then? Why don't they plug into a system that's established and works? I think it becomes they don't want to give their commission up. My mom gives up 50% of her commission to Ben, but she realizes that 50% of the big pie that he can help her get her hands on is bigger than 100% of the little tiny pie that maybe she would have been able to figure out on her own. But even then, she wouldn't have the resources probably to go out and buy Boomtown and get Mojo Dialer. And there's all these things that the team kind of provides to her. Yeah. And all she has to do is plug into the system.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take 50% of something than 100% of nothing. And a lot of times agents are so small-minded that, one, like we were talking about before off air, agents they're not going to share what they're doing. They're like, ooh, I'm going to hide this and hold it. I'm not going to let anybody have it because then Bob's going to take it and he's going to go steal all my business. That's utter fucking bullshit. Because you know what? Someone's going to relate to you or they're going to relate to me. And you're going to do it one way. And even if I carbon copied you, I'd probably do it or it might come off a little bit in a different way. And there's more business out there for all of us to share. And that's one thing agents really need to get over. They need to get over the small-minded bullshit and be willing to let everybody come in and be communal. I mean, that's how before I started doing coaching and training, I was like that. I had that mindset. I hated every other agent. I thought you were trying to take my food, take my business, take my clients. But then when I realized that, hey, actually, I can tell you exactly what I can literally lay out a map and you're not going to do it. So I have no problem telling you. I have absolutely no problem. And when I started using Mojo, oh my gosh, man, my mindset completely shifted. And it wasn't like, oh my gosh, I don't have enough business. It's like, holy shit, if I do this and I'm consistent on it, I'm going to have so much business. I better be careful what I wish for. Yeah. But it's like you said, it's the right systems in place. So you do the calls, then you do the follow-up, then you do your next step, then you do your next step, and it's like making fries at McDonald's, man. They have a system for that. That's why they taste so damn good, and you get them exactly the same way anywhere in the world.
It's really true. Like, the rest of their team, those guys all know. They all know how many calls I need to make to get an appointment. Yeah. Right. And they know over the course of a week, if I make 100 calls every day and I made 500 calls, I'm going to end up with 7 appointments or whatever their numbers are. Right. And then it just becomes a matter of putting in the effort. That's one thing we talk about a lot about in our software companies and in Ben's, the real estate team side of things is what effort do I need to make today in order to get the results that I want in the future?
Exactly.
And for the real estate teams, it literally is about calling, either just prospecting, circle prospecting, or like my mom did, I guess you'd call that circle prospecting around her house with a script, or following up with your leads, or whatever these things are, right? They all know that when I get to X number of calls, I should be expecting something. And then what happens, Greg, is when you're not getting the results you expect, then you know where to go back and tweak, right? If she had made 150 calls 5 days in a row and it was getting no results, maybe she needs to work on her script.
Yeah, or her delivery of the script, or some tweak on it. Maybe that's the time that you're calling. If Wednesdays suck for you, try Saturday afternoons. Switch it up a little bit.
She's got a funny little line that she uses. So the first kind of finish is, we're wondering if you are thinking about buying or selling anytime in the near future. And 99% of these people say no, right?
Oh, yeah.
nope, we're not. And so then her follow-up to that is, okay, do you have any nosy neighbors that you'd like to get rid of? He said in almost every case, people do what you just did. They laugh, right? Like, and it breaks the ice. And now she's not just some telemarketer. She's somebody that like got you to laugh, right? And
that's
and
some funny shit.
That's a great line. She
I'm
used that
using
one.
today.
Okay, cool. Do you have any nosy neighbors that you want to get rid of? And that was that line led to the one lady saying, laughing, and then saying, well, you know, the guy behind the house, not a nosy neighbor. I love the guy. They lived there for years, but you know, and she kind of, but she gave him the referral to the guy across the street who my mom now has their listing. So
I am still using that line. When I go on my Facebook Live today. I am using that line all day long. I hopefully get 150 to 200 outbounds. But I mean, like we were talking about, like I'm going to talk about what one of the questions that I use and some of the stuff that I tweak and shift on these calls, which really kind of changes people. What I've done before and what I do is, and when I'm doing these calls, priority number one, I get myself in the right mindset before I get on the calls. You know, there's different power poses. A lady by the name Amy Cuddy, she's an attractive blonde about down to here, she was wearing a purple shirt with a black jacket in her TED talk she gave. And she talked about body language and power poses. And so I usually do a power pose for about 3 minutes somewhere in my office. Usually I do the boss, which I put my hands behind my head, lean back in my chair, and put my feet up on the desk. Exactly. And I do that for about 3 to 5 minutes. I just sit here and I just feel fucking awesome. Then I get on the phone and I just feel awesome. I feel comfortable. And then I go for my nose, and I'm excited about getting them done because I've changed the way I'm viewing it. But what I say to these people is I'll tell them, you know, who I am, where I'm from, and what am I doing calling you, right? Hi, my name is Greg McDaniel with McDaniel Callahan Real Estate. The reason I'm calling today is blah. And then what I do is instead of shifting the question of, hey, who do you know that can be buying or selling? Well, what I do is I change the line very subtly, and I say, hey, Bob, who do you know that maybe I should know? And you're like, wait, who, what? And then I'm like, well, maybe third-party vendors, contractors, electricians, the attorneys, anyone that I should be speaking with, or anyone that might be buying or selling real estate. I also ask them if they're not going to be selling today. I say, okay, Bob, hey, you know what? I know that you and your beautiful wife just had a little baby. You know, what about buying some investment properties? You guys think about buying any investment properties? Because I always thought, I was thinking about the other day, I'm like, why in the hell do we not ask about buying investment properties if they're not going to be selling? Let's ask about buying. Yeah. And I had a guy, a $40 million buyer who's a contractor here in the area, got investors, has an extra 40 mil. And he's like, Greg, go find me some deals. I need to buy some stuff. I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, I can help you with this. Are you kidding me? And then I shift. What else do I shift? I shift one other. Simon Sinek. Are you familiar with Simon Sinek at all?
Yes.
Awesome book. His called Starting with Why. There's a bunch of other stuff he's put out there, guys. Yeah. Go watch him. It will change the way you view this business. But he helped a bum in New York City. He asked her permission and said, hey, how much money do you make a day? She's like, I make $100 a day. Okay. Can you live on that? Yes. Great. Can I help you change your sign? See if I can help you make some more money. The chick's like, sure, that's okay, whatever. So he changed it from, God bless, please give, or, vet needs help, or whatever the bullshit is they usually have, right? He changed it to this, and I use this on all my closes when I get done with my calls. It says, I know you don't give every day, but next time you do, please remember me. So I shift that. Well, by the way, she made $100 in an hour and then left. But I changed it to this. I know you don't buy and sell every day, but next time you do, please remember me. And if they're going to be the dick and be like, I don't want to call you, I'm like, okay, thank you, fuck off. Or it's like, oh, cool, I appreciate it, thanks so much, we'll keep on going. So I have your mom try that one. I know you don't buy and sell every day, but next time you do, please remember me.
Okay. I
would love to see what her responses are based upon her success so far, in what she's doing. And I love the whole nosy neighbor thing. But what do you do for mindset? Something, because I know that you got your fingers in a lot of different pies. What do you do when you're getting yourself in a funk, and how do you get you to your optimal state of mind?
So I think for me, one of the things that working with Ben over the last, it's been about a little over a year now. And, when I worked with him, I in many ways saw his career go. I think when I met him, he was doing 80 deals a year, and now he's doing 700, and kind of watched. And there was some downs in that as well. I always try to think bigger. I always try to that like we or I, so I individually or we as a company are capable of doing things that I never thought we were capable of doing before, right? So I'm always like, I'll give you an example. We are trying to get, or we were trying to get a big deal with Quickly. And I think before I would have went into that thinking, I hope this brokerage wants to use us. I hope this fits their needs. Right? It would have been, I would have come from this place of like, I think we got something good, but I hope it's a good fit. And thinking bigger allows me to say, I know this is a great product for them. I know this is going to be a good fit. And really, it's their fault if they don't take advantage of this opportunity.
Absolutely.
And I think when you get in that mindset, when I get in that mindset, I don't have any problem picking the phone up. I don't have any problem calling the person I need to call. I don't have any problem when I get them on the phone believing that what I'm talking to them about is going to help them. And we think bigger like that. And I got the shirt on. We think bigger like that in everything, right? Like it seems crazy when you're doing 80 deals a year to think you're going to do 700 one day. Today, Ben believes that they're going to do $1 billion in real estate sales in 1 year. I mean, that right now they did a big number. I want to say like 300 million on his teams. Wow. He believes they're going to do $1 billion in sales. And you don't get to that level unless you believe that you can do it. And you know, I'll be honest, there's been times like he's really challenged me in that though, because there's times where he says we're going to do something. And my first thought, we do these things called KPI assessments. It's like an assessment test that was created by Gary Keller. They kind of have or KPA, this special Keller personality assessment. And I skew towards being pessimistic. Right? I'm the type of guy that when you tell me, hey, we're going to do this thing, he starts to think about here's the things we need to plug up in order to get this done, because these will all be potential pitfalls. And what I've found myself doing more recently is believing. Immediately I'm like, hell yeah, we're going to do this.
Yeah.
Like, yes, we are going to do ActiveRain. We're going to do that. A year ago, I would have been like, good luck. We've been around for 10 years and we only have 300,000. So how the hell are we going to? Today, I have no question that we're going to do that. I have no question we're going to get every single agent's profile on ActiveRain. We're going to do it in the next 6 months.
That is
and part of that is because I just think we can do it. So I don't know. I guess that's how I get my mindset. But I definitely get in a funk. I think everybody does.
Everybody gets in a funk. You have a BHAG? Are you familiar with the term BHAG?
My BHAG right now is to get all 1.2 million realtor profiles on ActiveRain. My big, hairy, audacious goal. Absolutely.
Yep. And I have mine written in lipstick in my shower. I got to reword. It's been there for like 3 years. So it doesn't go away, right? It's very awkward as a man to go buy lipstick and be like, is this a good color? To the cashier, they're like, I guess so. No, but I took my BHAG like your shirt, thinking bigger, right? So when Tom Ferry encouraged me a number of years ago in this huge group in 2013 in Anaheim, goes, okay, I want you to write a BHAG down. And everybody's sitting around. Did I lose Bob? I think I lost Bob. I'll keep going. And everybody was sitting around and they were like, okay, gosh, I want to have a couple kids. I want to make $1 million. I want to do this. I want to do that, whatever the story is. Right. So I'm like, well, fuck this, dude. You want to go big? Let's go big. So I wanted to go and really scare the shit out of myself. So I wrote down this, and this is written in my shower as we speak. I, Greg McDaniel, have a net worth of well over $650 million. And I have $100 million in liquid cash at all times. Now, how in the hell am I going to be able to have that kind of money? Don't know. But one thing, it's scary, but it's also something to go towards. And one of the things that, Matt, Aaron, and I, that we're building this special project we keep alluding to, it may have the ability and the legs to get there. So what's going to stop you from getting what you want? Why are you not thinking bigger in your day-to-day, guys? There's nothing that should stop you or hinder you from getting what you want. The only thing that's going to do that is you. Your mindset is what's going to block you and stop you. Now, I think we may have lost Bob, so what we're going to do is we're going to probably just wrap this bad boy up here. But here's something else, guys. McDaniel Challenge, all right? No joke, I am booked out until March 2nd or March 3rd. Let me get on a calendar here really quickly, and I will be able to tell you guys. If you guys are thinking about doing the McDaniel Challenge, please do it. No shit. I am booked out until March 6th of 2017. And I would love to get you guys on the book sooner than later. So best way to do the McDaniel Challenge, guys, is 925-915-1978. Again, 925-915-1978. That's my cell phone. It's sitting right next to me. Call me, text me, get a hold of me, get some time booked. Also, Facebook message me. All right, that's the easiest way for me to respond 99% of the time, because I can do video, audio, or written text back to you. And I can get back to you as quickly as possible. So you guys, that is what we're doing here. Hope you guys enjoyed the show today. We will be back. What is today? Monday. We'll be back Wednesday. Matt will be back in the co-pilot seat, because bitch, I'm running this show. Hope he watches this and hears that. Anyways, you know what, guys? Hey, been a joy having you on. Thank you for watching. Spread the word on the show. Go to iTunes. I was gonna say YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, or go to YouTube. Follow us. Give us a comment if we have done something beneficial for you or your business. We'd love to hear from you guys. And then for all the folks that are going to be on the McDaniel Challenge, thanks for reaching out, and then share it with a friend. So we do this show because we love you. We want to see your business flourish and just grow leaps and bounds. Hopefully we're bringing you some positive information. I love you guys. Peace. I am out of here. Bye.